What's poppin', players? Welcome back to the Two Penny Game Club, your monthly video game book club, where I, your host, Tavin Bothel, alongside my beloved panel here, say hello to the people, Phil Shoemaker.
Hello!
And
I was going to throw my heart out to the audience, but...
okay, you gotta be careful with that sometimes. And say hello to the people, Connor Elliott.
We should not be shamed in doing a Roman salute, which is what they call it.
Oof.
Did you know that the Romans did that? Did what exactly?
Yeah, no other known army or wannabe empire ever did anything like it.
The 1940s,
you know, nothing happened. Nothing happened. Anyways, this is the Two Penny Game Club, your monthly video game book club, where this panel in the background during a month plays a game for review. We come to you at the beginning of each new month, review it, and then rank it amongst the other games that we've done in the series. Full playlist is in the description down below so that you can catch up on all of our opinions on all of the games. This is episode 47, gentlemen.
It was so long.
Yeah, it was
37.
37, gentlemen. 37. And we are reviewing Castle Crashers.
Classic Xbox Live arcade game.
Classic Xbox Live arcade game. This is an interesting one, right?
Childhood memories are bound up in this.
Yes, very much so. So, here I'll start with the quick facts first. So, quick facts: Castle Crashers released August 27th, 2008, on Xbox 360 through the Xbox Live Summer of Arcade. This was actually the first Summer of Arcade, 2008.
Yeah,
first one. Sold 2 million copies by year end, and by August 2019 had sold more than 20 million copies. It's worth noting that's before the PlayStation 4 and the Nintendo Switch ports. Currently has a Metacritic of 82, developed and published by the Behemoth, directed by John Baez and Tom Fulp, written by Tom Fulp and Dan Paladin, and then art direction by Dan Paladin. So yeah, Connor, you kind of brought it up. This was the game when I go over to usually Connor's house. Connor, I think had it, but our friend Glenn was the one who was obsessed with it. So like every time we went over there, he always wanted to play, and we would always play like the first 2 levels and then stop, and then move on to Halo or something like that, right? So my memory of this game is always those first 2 levels and then nothing else. And it's always like it was the game that one of the friends in the friend group loved. I thought was just okay back in the day. Like I wasn't like enamored with it, but we were always playing it. How about you, Phil?
It was never really that prevalent in my childhood. I played maybe those first 2 levels up to like the catfish fight.
Yeah,
and then that's around when I would stop. I don't remember. I don't recall like playing it with a big group of friends. It was like maybe me and my brother, and that's about it.
I never have memories of playing with all 4 characters. I only ever 3, and I think that's because maybe we were short on controllers or something. But maybe my memory's faulty.
I remember playing with more.
Okay.
I think I had a full team at one point, definitely.
Maybe.
Yeah, I definitely had to.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Or maybe like, I think Fergus hates this game. So like, whenever we played it, he would always be like, "No, I'm not going to play."
That could be the case.
Maybe that seems familiar or whatever. Of course, Castle Crashers is a 2D side-scrolling beat-em-up game. This is an interesting one because this is an indie game, right? But this is before indie was like a thing. Like this would be called, hence the Summer of Arcade, an arcade game, or like it was a throwback to old like. I watched some of the trailers to this game in the lead up, and like one of the tagline for this game was "Long Live 2D." Like just to kind of put you in the frame of mind, like 2D was like it was scared 2D was going away or something like that.
I could very easily like in an alternate universe walk into like an arcade and see the Castle Crashers machine, right?
I mean it got arcade cabinets.
Really?
Yeah. I remember going to like.
It was a big game at the time.
Yeah, back when movie theaters had a little arcade section. I remember Castle Crashers being in there, Shout out Tinseltown. Remember Tinseltowns?
Yeah.
Yeah. That doesn't exist anymore.
Well, it's owned by Cinemark.
Yeah, so now it's just Cinemarks, And
no, it's AMC actually.
And so I think you might be right. And so I think like the novelty of this game is that, oh wow, this like arcade game that's good, like this downloadable game that's good. That's the era that we were in of like, what, a little like bite-sized $20 game, like, and you're gonna play it and it's like good. And this game was really, really well received. Voted 2008's best game of the year at the Xbox Live Arcade Awards. It had a bunch of other accolades that I didn't write down, but that was the big one that I saw. There was like some publications like got it. This was like awarded like the #1 games of 2008 that we're gonna still play like in the future, and I don't know what the fuck that meant, but like it was in that weird.
They were
it's just
right.
in that weird era where like
we played it in 2025.
Yeah, it was in that weird era where like we didn't have the established pillars that we do now, so like everybody just kind of did their own thing. And so yeah, Castle Crashers is just a weird one to me that like I remember being big. I remember it being a moment. I remember always having the friend who always wanted to play, but it was never something that I personally owned or played a lot of myself, you know? So that was interesting. And
almost 2 decades old.
Yeah, we're getting close to that 20-year mark. And that brings me to my personal feelings and review about the game. It's fine. It's okay. It's all right, you know. It's a good time for probably about 45 minutes, and then, you know, it gets old pretty quickly. I don't think it does enough to like shake up the formula throughout the game. Like, it does a couple of things that is nice, and, you know, there is a sense of progression with leveling up and getting stronger and all that. There's weird and random difficulty spikes throughout the game that like I totally don't think are necessary, or like I wish were paced out better at least. And generally, like, I don't know, like the most exciting time I had is when we were making fun of Connor when playing that game, which I'm sure we'll get into that story in a few minutes.
Yeah.
But like, as of right now, like I think the game like feels fine to play. Like it you know, it's a lot of like jumping around and mashing the attack button, and you know, every once in a while to just shake it up for your own sake, you throw out a magic spell that you have, and yeah, you slash at enemies until they fall down dead, or you do, you know. And I think sometimes it's unclear of like when enemies are going to attack. Sometimes it feels like I'm getting attacked for no reason. There were times where I got stun locked and just, you know, got put into a cycle of continuously getting knocked over and then brought back up. I think this game is fine. It's fun. If you like it, awesome. I'm struggling to even think of how to describe my feelings about this game, because it's a lot of like, I don't have strong feelings about this game. I don't really have feelings about this game. I think I'm going to forget about this game as soon as we're done with this review, and this will live on an eternity of this series of like, oh yeah, fuck, we did play that. Like, I think
of that in like, not on the same, we definitely thought higher of it, but I'm like, oh yeah, we played Severed. Right.
Yeah, but like Severed, like is like, oh man, but that was like kind of that was
right.
That was a unique experience.
That was like a special. That was a special game. You
that's
know?
kind of what I'm getting at.
But like this one, it's like 100%. Like I'm gonna struggle to remember how I felt about the game 2 weeks from now. I'm gonna be like, yeah, no, it's Castle Crashers. It's fun, right? Oh well, I guess it was kind of boring.
Video game.
Yeah, you know. So yeah, I wasn't enamored with our playthrough of this game. As soon as we were done, I deleted it. I have no interest in playing it ever again. And yeah, it was all right.
Same.
Not bad, not offensive, and not even like there weren't even parts where I was like, "Ugh, God, this sucks." It was just a lot of like, "All right, I'm doing this." But Connor, how did you feel about Castle Crashers?
The greatest highlight of Castle Crashers is playing with your friends. Now, the game is very clearly pushing you to have at least 2 players, ideally 4. We played with 3, of course. And the most fond memories I can have of this game outside of my childhood is those fun moments we would have playing as a group. But beyond that, there's the biggest issue is that the combat feels strange because it's hard to tell when you're in front of an enemy and able to hit them and when you're not. Now, this brings in a lot of problems, such as boss fights, where very often when you get to the end of a boss fight, they just become hard to hit because they move around a lot. And that, in tandem with it not having the best hitboxes, makes it to where they can go on forever. And the fact that playing with friends, even though it was more fun, they just hiked up enemy health, made it a lot more of a grindy feeling game. Just hitting over and over and over again. And unfortunately, it doesn't provide many ways to shake that up. You know, it's I mentioned it that this would benefit from a parry while we were playing it. I mentioned this, but it was the time before parries were really a common thing. and so you don't have that bit of gameplay depth to entertain yourself. And so you're just pressing, you're trying to stun lock enemies for as long as you can by pressing the light attack and the heavy attack. And I did find some kind of cool flow in the combat where you could basically jump. Like, it seemed inconsistent to me, but you can, grand slam somebody from the air with your heavy attack and it kind of hits them in the air. And then you can jump up again and juggle them for a little bit in the air. And those moments were fun. But for the most part, you're just, you're hammering away at a rock. And sometimes those rocks have a lot of health. And it seems like we would die mainly because it was battles of attrition. And we just didn't kill them quick enough. And so they just whittled down our health to the point where we had basically no health altogether amongst us. And one of us would get killed to go down. We'd try to get that person up. And in the process, that person would go down. And then the death spiral would conclude with the third person dying. There's special items you can get. I think it relies way too much on the health potions. It seems like the game expects you to die far, far more often than you should, and just expects you to have a health potion to automatically revive you when you do die, which when playing a 3-player game and you're constantly reviving people, it didn't really seem necessary for me to do that. So there were a lot of moments where I'm just lying on the ground, dead throughout the entire fight. So I go down, someone picks me up, and we go right back at it, which also kind of takes away the any kind of tension that might have been captured in this game, which isn't to say that I don't think there really was a chance for it, even if the health system and how you would be revived was different. Magic as a system seems very underbaked. It doesn't allow you to do enough damage and do it enough for it to, be a pillar as far as a part of the combat system, when it's just better off to whack enemies over and over again. Yeah. And, it stuns them better. It does more damage, all those things, to where magic seems kind of irrelevant in the grand scale of things. But the game does have tons of charm, kind of not charm that makes me laugh nowadays. Certainly would have when I was a kid back in the day. And even though it's not that same level of comedic genius that I thought it was when I was a kid, deer shitting and, propelling like a jet. But it's fun. Having your little animals that you get that follow you around, that give you some kind of benefit, whether it's extra XP or they whack enemies from time to time, which could help out during those special moments where you have too many guys on you.
Speaking of the pets, is what they're called. The fan base says the best pet in the game is the hawk. And the hawk retrieves fruit from dead enemies and heals you, so you can get a consistent pool of health always coming towards you. In a developer interview, they said the hawk initially was going to rip out bits of flesh or enemy hearts and bring those to you to heal you.
Delicious.
And that eventually obviously changed for ESRB reasons.
Of course.
My go-to pet was the I think it's like a horned toad or like a bearded dragon of some sort.
Yeah.
Very cute.
I liked the ram.
Raised my defense.
Ram's great.
Yeah, the ram was like, great. The enemy got knocked down. Cool. I'm going to capitalize on that. So
very fun.
Phil, I'm sorry. Did you have any more? Or?
I guess not really. Play the game with friends.
Play it with friends if you're going to play it. Phil, where are you at with Castle Crashers?
Yeah. Yeah, you guys kind of already touched on it. Most of the things I want to talk about. This game is dated as hell. In terms of like in terms of like the humor. And like the general vibe of it is insanely like of its time. 2007
internet meme.
Yeah, like random.
Yeah.
LOL.
Like, poop humor is very much here.
And I think the gameplay itself, it's like you said, incredibly inoffensive. Connor brought up magic, and I was kind of the more magic focused one of us, and I kind of regretted that toward the end, because it's like I have all these points in magic and it's barely doing anything for me.
Get like level up your magic to the point to where you have like the blast that goes across the screen, and then from there you're fine.
And I used I got to like a whole other tier after that, and I'm like, man, those points could have made me stronger or more resilient in some way. But like, I wonder if maybe if I had picked a different character, if I would have liked it more. But like, I think overall, it doesn't really matter which character you play. I assume they all play relatively the same.
They're all mostly the same. It's worth noting the Green Knight apparently is the only one. His heavy attack combo has a different animation. I think everybody else does a flip. No, Green Knight is the only one who does a flip on his final attack, and everybody else just spins their swords.
Interesting.
on their final heavy attack, and apparently that's contentious in the fan base. I don't know.
I get a bat like it's
What is
too
Green Knight
powerful
doing a
or it's
flip?
not good.
I don't know. That's as far as I got.
But,
I
like-
watched like a little like YouTube documentary on this game, which was interesting, and I sent it in the chat. And I recommend y'all watching because it is interesting of like seeing the development of this game and how it progressed from event Comic-Con to event to Comic-Con event. But yeah, and I think the story of the game is kind of interesting of like this small group of guys who had done some browser games and, the creator of Newgrounds, Tom Fulp, excuse me. And, how they had some success on some game that I forget the name of it now. And then, they were able to, get funding and work on Castle Crashers and get it posted on Xbox like this. It was all really interesting stuff. But yeah, the game is fine.
Yeah.
It's like inoffensive is a good word for it.
I think it there's something to be said about like how special this game was when it came out, and just the general charm of the game. Pats on the back to like everyone that made this game, and just how seemingly like still prevalent this game is in like the cultural zeitgeist when it comes to talking about games.
When you talk, I mean, as I said earlier, like the history of indie games, like this game helped pave the way greatly for that, But it's just like, is it fun now? I don't know.
To answer that question, in short bursts, yes. When you get into hour, I don't know, 3 or 4 of like when we were playing,
I don't even think that long.
Really, was it not even that long?
I think our longest play session was 3 hours.
Jeez.
And yeah, I think after the first hour is when you're like, I could put this down now.
There are some bits, like I think especially that final boss where your eyes just kind of glaze over, and it's just I said it in the playthrough, but I was like, man, fucking what's the class, like a basic class on like overstaying your welcome or something like that. But it just, that final boss has kind of left a bad taste in my mouth in terms of how I generally felt about this game, and just the frustration of not being able to get accurate depth perception and hit enemies that are in front of you when they seem they should be getting hit by your combos, but they're just not. They're just all whiffing. And then all of your hits are doing 16, 17 points of damage, and then they hit you for 45, knock you down. And I don't know. I think it's overall an inoffensive game, but it came very close to being offensive for me.
Oh yeah, I'm not there. Yeah, no, I really like. I just keep repeating myself, and I hate that I'm doing it because I hold myself as a reviewer to a higher standard. But I just think it's fine, man. Like I just don't think it's anything special, and
for the time, incredibly special. But just now,
for the time, like
in the modern lens, it's just, I don't know.
We've just seen so much more from so much less, you know, and for what they did, like it's remarkable to be on such a small scale, to have such limited tools, and I mean, like this is before like Unity was like an engine, which is where so many indie devs, were able to really explode and get a game engine that worked for them and so forth. And in that YouTube doc I talked about, like
Flash, right?
Yeah, it's all done in Flash.
Yeah.
Which that doesn't even exist anymore. And so in that YouTube doc they talk about like, man, like putting it on the 360 as like a Summer of Arcade was a problem, because like anytime you wanted to update the game or any like DLCs you wanted to add to the game had to have like been in the game when you first uploaded it to Xbox.
Yeah.
So like you couldn't like do like a normal update that you would see today of like, all right, we're pushing this live now. Like everything had to be in the game when you gave it to Xbox. So like, they tell stories of like DLC characters got leaked a year and a half before they were supposed to come out, because they were like, we just had to hold on to content and wait for it, So I'm like, wow, that's just a different time, And yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, the game is an appropriate length for, the asking price and for the size of it. I don't, like, sure, the fights go on too long in a lot of it, and some of the boss fights are egregious with really just the final one has like 6 stages to him or whatever.
And the corn boss.
Oh,
the corn boss was just annoying to hit. Yeah,
which comes in the problem of the combat system.
Yeah, but like, I never felt like, God, I wish I never felt like the game had too many levels. You know, like I'm like, this is an appropriate amount of levels. Like, yeah, this makes sense.
And I did like the environmental aspects of the game, such as lava coming up the ground, boulders rolling down the hill, so it's better to fight on the back end of the screen that you're fighting on.
In this factory, these falling spiked clubs that
come in and fuck us up. We had a lot of issues with that.
It did.
But I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that more than like, here's a new enemy and he throws spikes at you, and I'm like, this guy's annoying.
And that's the issue with the enemy variety, is that even though there's a lot of different types of enemies, they all operate basically the same way.
Yeah.
They'll every now and then, if they're kind of lower to their the end of their health pool, they'll start glowing and use magic.
And you
of some sort.
you handle them pretty much the same way every time.
Bash them.
You know,
and very often they would hit you, and like you said before, you couldn't do anything. You just kind of have to
just take
with
it. You're like, all right, I guess I got hit here. You know, which is why you brought up, oh man, it'd be cool if there's a parry. I feel like this would be one of those games that like a parry mechanic could exist in it, but you as the player would never know how it works or like when to do it. It would just
it would so
just happen.
Arbitrary, like when you were actually able to pull it off.
It'd be like a lot like in Kingdom Hearts 1 where we're like, I don't know, man, I was just mashing the button and sometimes I had to get a parry by accident, like type shit, The
game has fun with itself though. Like clearly when they were making it, they were enjoying creating Castle Crashers. Like the very world itself.
I don't doubt that at all.
whimsy.
It seems like it would have been a great time, like creating it all. You know?
And I mean, like,
and playing it back in the day.
The reveal of the face of the final princess is such that's such 2006 internet like what does she look like? Oh, it's a joke, gahaha, we got you type thing. Like, and
you might
say players went, okay.
You might say it's one of the best twists in gaming.
There was a very funny bit that Tom Fulp was talking about whenever he was doing that Let's Play I was telling you all about for Castle Crashers, and he talked about how when they were showing off the game at like conventions and stuff, Major Nelson from Xbox, he came and was playing a little bit of it, and he played the bit where you're running away on the deer, and one of them has like the poop rocket or whatever. He goes, "Oh man, that's really good, but it's not finished though, right?" But it was like fully done.
They're like, "Oh, that's all we got."
Lied. It was like, no, it's not. Like just messing around, like
just lie. What's
that? Right?
Listen, I like the different environments of the game. I do like how many different variants of aesthetically all the enemies that we had in there.
Sorry, it wasn't Major. It was Cliffy B.
Cliffy B. Oh, okay. I appreciated the game's attempt to switch things up. I feel like the best examples of those is, Connor, what you were talking about when they would have environmental dangers go in. That was more entertaining to me than, we're going to give you the same type of guy, but now he has a magic ice power. Or this guy, but he throws a buzzsaw at you. And I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. I thought the boss fights ranged from, that was kind of cool, to, I
liked the...
There was one or two that I was like, this is a shit boss.
The guy that was at the end of the falling spike pillar ones, where you just destroy all of his gadgets.
Oh,
I like that boss.
Yeah, where you break you break the hand at the left and the gun on the right and the generators in the middle. That was
painter was fun.
The painter was cool.
That he created come on the screen.
Yeah.
Towards the end when he was literally just fucking, he sounded like, I made the joke. It sounded like he kept saying psyop. He was creating all those little creatures.
I liked the Ice
nonsense.
King. The Ice King was one of my personal favorites. I liked him a lot.
Ice King.
I
remember.
They'd fall from the sky and he'd cast on the ground. I liked him.
Made funny faces.
Corn on the cob, get the fuck out of here.
Terrible.
Terrible. I like the aesthetic choice of the dragon with the sock puppet on the tail. I like the idea of it, but the actual fight I thought was kind of lame.
The first, because we did clown on the final boss, the first part of that boss fight is good. It goes on and on, goes through the same phase where he becomes a balloon.
Yeah.
Twice. At
least. I didn't need the second balloon phase.
Yeah.
But no, I liked when it was you can only attack him physically, or you can only attack him magic here. That's cool.
It does the thing where, once again, dealing with depth perception, it makes it even worse because now he's in the air.
Yeah.
And so now you have to jump and attack him, and it's even worse.
Yeah. Depth perception is probably my biggest issue about the game. But there's fun to be had here. I just don't think not long stretches of fun. It's so weird looking online and seeing people being like, yeah, man, we're trying to like 100% it and get through impossible mode. And I'm like, why? Why do you feel the need to do that? Like,
This is one game I could live with never like 100%ing, never getting.
Oh
the
yeah,
platinum
no, I
for.
don't. Yeah, I never could see myself playing this again. And God, I hate being negative towards it because it's not a bad game.
Right.
Like it's just like I truly will forget about this game. Like I will not remember it. I won't even remember this review in a month, which is crazy. Music was okay.
I thought music was good.
Yeah, I think it was
Music
very
was
fun.
music was all right. I liked the music.
I like the hub world music that was playing whenever you would go back there and get the weapons. And
I like the map, like aesthetic.
Yeah.
Like that's a cool thing.
Like a little hand drawn map.
UI was made well. It has good unlockables. Like when you play through the game, at least if you enjoy this game, when you get the alien, you're like, I kind of want to play the alien.
Yeah,
You
right.
know?
I wish it
All the
would like
characters.
I wish like progression and leveling up and power was like set to the player, not to the character.
Yeah.
I get that like it's so that you can go back to the beginning and play every character and have fun that way, so it helps with replayability in that sense. But like I wish when I did unlock the alien or when I did unlock different characters throughout the game, I do wish that there was a way that I could be like, oh, I want to play as that guy now. I didn't know I could play as the Black Knight now. I didn't know I could play as the alien now.
Maybe like make a choice to be like, hey, do you want this to match your last character's level, or do you want to start pick that character,
or like a one-time transfer over
Sure.
or something like that. Yeah,
or like you transfer like your master level from this character.
something. I don't know. Just to kind of do that. I appreciate the leveling up and the choice of like the different stats that you want to boost. It just felt like you get magic up to one specific level and you're fine, and then like health and defense the rest of the way, and strength the rest of the way. Like it didn't make a lot of sense to me to put a lot of upgrades into the agility category. I didn't see the purpose in that.
Apparently, if you get it to like a high enough level, the bow and arrow is essentially like a machine gun.
Oh, okay. I can believe that.
Like I wish there were steps along the way that like
Right.
helped, like maybe like the magic had like the like little like divots where like every 5 or 6 or whatever, like you
Something
get
like that. Yeah.
get a new power and it would show you the progress of that. I wish all of them had that. Like like for the agility and the bow, which are tied together, like if at some point you got a 3-shot or at some point you got a 2-shot
Some
or
kind of multi-shot.
yeah, something like that. Or if like you unlocked more combos through strength instead of just raw leveling up, and things like that. So yeah, it's funny in the documentary you can see early versions of the game. The level up used to have an animation to it where like the character would jump into the air, do a flip and a cool pose. But they found that like it would very often like break up the flow of combat, and you would land in a place that maybe you didn't want to land in, or it'd interrupt you in a moment where you're juggling enemies and so forth. So they switched it to where the beam of light comes up around you, but nothing like changes for you, the player. You're still actively playing.
I'm a really big fan of games that when you level up, you get maxed out on your health again.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of that in these types of games where like a level up will save your like run essentially, where it'll just be like the life.
So many times, fuck, I'm close to death. Hit that level up. Oh, thank God,
We're back.
We're good. We're
Healing
good.
time.
It was so funny when it would be like, I would eat like a chicken, which is like the like it would give you like 150 health,
chicken wing,
and it'd be like I'd be like, oh great, I got so much health now, and then I'd level up. I'd be like, somebody else could have had that chicken. Somebody else could have eaten that.
Speaking of taking resources away from other players,
You have a shovel.
there's a shovel that you get probably just after like the halfway point.
Yeah, a
would
little
you
more than
say?
halfway.
In like the desert area, right after you cross the ocean.
Just a lake.
Or, yeah, whatever it is.
I mean, it's supposed to be an ocean, but like on the map, it looks small.
Quick side point: the mounts were fun when those were also included
Oh, the mounts. Oh,
Yeah.
the dragon guy.
Yeah.
in the water. Yeah,
I could have just used
Little
more.
dinosaur.
Like, I wish every level had something.
Yeah.
Like, and we could repeat those some things, but I just wish every level had something to switch things up.
But so this shovel in the desert, it introduces the fact that you can use the shovel on little like crisscross X's in the sand, and like you mash the button and dig something up. But when you dig it up, you fall backwards.
Yeah,
so
there's
there's
an
a second
animation.
before you can get up and go collect what you dug up.
stupid design.
And so it became very funny for one person to try to dig this thing up. And once they dug it up, somebody else would run over and scoop it up before the next person could.
And who was that one person, Phil?
Well, the one person digging or the people that were stealing?
You know who I'm asking.
So Connor was really useful.
Thanks, buddy. I really appreciate it.
He would see one of those X marks the spots. He would dig it up, and then I would swoop right in and scoop right up.
He would do
Tavin
that.
would join me. He would do the same
Right
thing.
in there.
And so,
But it got
me
so
and Phil
funny.
me and Phil are like chuckling and laughing at each other, like, fuck you, Connor, this, that, and the third. But there's one point, like, and we can tell he's getting annoyed by it. And there's one point where Connor's just quiet and he's just sitting there, and the depth perception sucks, so you have to like dig at it a bunch
Yeah.
to like actually hit the sweet spot to do it. And he finally does it, and it's this like, it's not a long animation, but it's just long enough to see it happen. So, so we're just watching, and then as soon as like, oh, he got it, run to his
over.
spot.
It's a big old
And
diamond.
it's just this moment where Connor had been quiet for a beat, and then Phil runs and grabs it. And I think it was like health that Connor
Something
really
like that.
needed in
Yeah.
that
And
moment.
then he goes, "You bitch!" And so me and Tavin are just laughing. We have tears in our eyes. We're just dying.
Meanwhile,
over
we are
Discord.
being attacked. Like,
Yeah,
it's not
no,
a piece
we're
of
dying in real life and in the game.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yes, and you would think there's more important things to do, but there's not.
That's so funny. I wish we were recording that. So
Oh
bad.
my god, I was laughing my
Um,
ass off, bro.
But then, sometime after that, we were like, okay, it's over.
Mm-hmm.
And so Connor dug something up, and he finally got it, but it was like fucking useless. It was like
it's
an
like
old
a
boot.
rotten sock,
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yep. And I
Like,
kind of
Connor, you got it.
I stopped looking for the spots to dig after a while.
I think they stopped showing up after the desert,
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
they?
just
Or like
after
maybe
that,
they're in a few more levels, but for the
They're
most
only in
part,
that like opening to like mid spot of
Yeah.
the
yeah,
desert.
yeah, yeah.
And that kind of moment wouldn't have happened if you were playing this game by yourself. Which is, again, this game would be lower if we all decided let's take it on our own time.
Yeah.
It would not have been as fun.
I mean, there was like chuckling at other parts of like whenever another player is struggling with it. So like the factory with the environmental hazards things,
Oh,
I
yeah.
struggled with really, really hard. So like I could feel Phil getting to the other side and then chuckling as I fucking get destroyed by them.
Well, and then so that would happen, and then you'd get lost, and then Connor would go back to try to save you.
Oh my god!
And so then it's just me on this elevator by myself.
Watching friends die, get pummeled into the earth.
And then eventually Tavin did make it, but Connor didn't. And
was
then
a
of course
curse.
that's the time where we won.
Of course it is.
Was
Of
just
course
me and
it is.
Tavin
Yeah.
knocking
Because
it
we're real
down.
gamers. We're
Locking
real
it
gamers.
down, you know.
You know?
Yes. You guys work in tandem, whether you're thieves or playing Castle Crashers.
We just make a good team, you know.
Mhm.
Let's rank this bad boy.
The good old hype squad.
Oh, I love the Hype Bolt squad. I know where I'm put.
So I never want to play this again. So of course, oh damn it, I can't change it. Kind of funky in this.
Can I get it?
It is. Yeah, just sit there. Anyways,
Slouch.
of course, we rank every game that we review in the game club. The list is as follows. There are 36 entries on the list as of right now.
I don't like that I'm cutting off Kingdom Hearts in the
Yeah, it is what it is. 36, Kingdom Hearts. 35, Fable. 34, BioShock. 33, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. 32, Prey. I'm going to stop at the top of C because I don't think it's going to break out of C tier. 32, Prey. 31, Tomb Raider. 30, Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots. 29, Alan Wake. 28, Batman Arkham Asylum. 27, Uncharted Drake's Fortune. 26, Signalis. 25, Halo Combat Evolved. 24, Dead Cells. And then you can see the rest of the list on the screen there. If
Look
you
on
want,
your
but
phones.
we're gonna stop there. Connor,
save Tavin some saliva.
and just what's the point of getting to number one? This game's not going there. Connor, I want to
Be
start with you
surprised.
because before the show had started, you had said multiple times of like, I don't know where this is going, and both me and Phil are like, we know exactly where this is going.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure we know where each other are putting it.
we'll find out when you guys do it.
I think between us, there's only one question that's going to be a difference between the two of us. But I think the spot is going to be the numbered spot is the same.
Well, the benefit this game has is there's not really a lot I hate, or there's nothing I hate. There's not really much I can say negative, but there's not a lot I can say positive either. Which it allows it to go a large scale on this list, but the key problem that I keep going back to is the way you just hit people, which is the main thing you're doing in that game, is the weakest part of the game, which is
The
a
depth
bad thing.
perception
The
is
depth
what you're
perception
talking
is a bad
about.
thing, yes. And so, I had again, but the thing that was making it complicated was I still had fun with it because I was playing with people. Now, This isn't a game that I see it as a game meant to be played with multiplayer, and it's not just one that has the option of that. It seems baked into how you would consider the game. But even with that taken into consideration, and talking about it for a little bit, my ranking is going to be above Fable, below BioShock.
That's exactly where I'm at. Yeah. I think the game is inoffensive. I think it's fine. I think it shoots to be exactly what it needs to be, and not really anything more than that. And my thing about it is though we had fun in moments of like, I'm gonna always remember laughing at Connor for never being able to pick up the treasure and his vitriol reaction to that. But that was us. That's not the game. The game didn't elicit that joy. We did, by being...
We made our own fun.
By being, buffoons with it. So, this game doesn't really have anything to say for me. I could have gone the rest of my life never playing it and been fine. I don't think anybody would have even brought it up in conversation. This was a game that, like, I 100% believe we didn't need to play for this show. But not a bad game, fine game, good for the time, and important for the time. But
which is why I think it's a good thing we played it.
Yeah, but like I don't think like the mechanics of Castle Crashers are not influential. I think beat 'em ups had been long established before Castle Crashers. I don't think Castle Crashers added anything to the beat 'em up formula that makes it special. The most this game did was just open the door a little bit more for other indie games, which is great. Thank you for your service, but you mechanically are not doing anything that is pushing the medium forward, and I believe if you took Castle Crashers out of the story of indie games are still what they are today. I think games like Fez are more important than
just
Castle
maybe
Crashers.
Would get them later.
I don't even think that much later. Like I think
we would have lost some indie games
because the next, Summer of Arcade happened every year, and there was great games every year in Summer of Arcade. So like Geometry Wars was right there, the Trials games were right there. Super Meat Boy's right there.
But the success of Castle Crashers might have allowed those games to come into fruition. Being arcade games, it was
those are all the same time.
But this is during a time when, again, it's not so established arcade games / indie games. And so as businesses tend to go, they could have at some point seen, well, these aren't really doing much for us financially.
I would have to look up when those other games came out because I don't know off the top of my head. But I believe Castle Crashers helped Summer of Arcade be successful the first time out, but I don't believe Xbox would have stopped after 1 year of it. Like
sure.
And there were other games that year that I'm sure were successful. I attribute the success of that more to games like Fez and like Super Meat Boy than I do to Castle Crashers. But Castle Crashers is obviously in that conversation. So I'm
Limbo,
right there with you,
too.
Connor. The new number 35 above Fable, below BioShock. Bill?
I'm at the bottom.
The new bottom.
The new bottom.
He was never going to put it above Kingdom Hearts.
No, but
I guess that makes sense.
The fact that Kingdom Hearts is below Fable, if Fable was at the bottom, it would be right above Fable, below Kingdom Hearts.
But you cannot do it.
But I can't do that.
Kingdom Hearts. Well, then the question is, what tier do we put Castle
D
Crashers
tier.
D.
I would still put it in D.
It'd probably be the top of D.
Oh, okay.
You think you're going to make an argument for C?
I was going to argue bottom of C. Yeah.
No, it's the third entry in the D tier.
We could definitely change that later, depending on hone in on what is a D-rated game.
As we play more D games.
But for right now, I wouldn't put it in the same tier as BioShock or anything else above that. Even Donkey Kong Tropical.
No, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze is a way better game than this.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Which is why I'm like D is probably, adequate right now.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have a new top of D and a new number 35. Above Fable, below BioShock, top of D tier. Thank you. That is, of course, going to bring us to the end of our episode of the Two Penny Game Club. This is so fucking funny. We're not even cracking 40 minutes. The last couple have gone well over an hour, and usually they break an hour anyways, but like MGS4 was like an hour and 50 minutes or something like that, which is nuts to have that back to back.
So indie games of 2008 and 9. Sorry, just a quick little offshoot. We got Braid.
Okay, Braid came out.
Braid's out there. Yeah.
Shadow Complex.
Oh,
Sure.
shit. Okay. Yeah, that was big at the time.
World of Goo.
No.
Flower.
Oh, Flower's so important. Flower is Journey before Journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's pretty much like in terms of this, like
2008
from Reset era from 2008 and 9.
Oh, there's
I would 2008 and 9.
Yeah, I mean 2008 to 9. So,
Oh, okay. Yeah. See, I would look at what
I
was
assume
going
it's just
on
of 2008.
what was going on in 06, 07, what was going on in, and then of course the indie space really exploded on PC. So like, that's where they really made their bread and butter.
Mm-hmm.
Consoles, Castle Crashers, of course, but Super Meat Boy, whenever that came out, and a bunch of others. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is where we decide what we are playing for the next month. Now, we do an alternating bit here where we either let the grand wheel of games decide, where we have a spinner wheel with currently got 111 entries or something crazy like that in it, to randomly pick a game. That's how we got Castle Crashers. Or we alternate and have one of us pick so that we can have a little bit more agency and get to some of the games that we really want to play. We, of course, take turns in it. It goes Connor, Phil, and then me. And then, the wheel interspliced between those. It's Connor's month to pick. So, Connor, what are we playing for the month of July?
Well, most of you wouldn't know this, but we had just played through the first 4 Metal Gear Solid games.
Indeed.
Being picked by me and Tavin as part of a deal.
Well, you really only picked Snake Eater.
Collusion.
Yes, that's true. Collusion, indeed.
It was one game.
A fair collusion.
And it's the top of the list, so it was a great pick, Connor. Great pick.
There we go. The deal is still in effect, though, because now it's Tavin's turn to pay up.
Who picked the first Metal Gear?
Me.
You did.
Then who picked the second?
Me. It went all the way back around.
What did he pick before?
Doom? I don't know.
I did pick Doom, yeah.
Maybe that was it.
But now it's time for Souls game.
Yeah.
Starting with the original, Demon Souls, to try and learn how did one of these very big types of popular games come about? We're going to answer that question.
So, yeah, and we're going to be playing the original Demon Souls
Yes.
on PS3 because, and I think this is kind of how I'll see the rule from here on out when we pick versions of games, is if the version of the game is different enough to dedicate to its own. So I think if like a remake is big enough and different enough to justify its own slot on its list, on the list as itself, like if there's a reason enough to be like, oh well, we could play the remake also, then I think we'll always pick the original and then get to the remake when it's time to get to the remake. So I think eventually at some point when we get down the line, maybe, or because it's a Blue Point game, maybe not even in order of Souls games.
I wasn't planning on it.
Yeah,
I see
just
no
whatever.
reason to have to play both, ever.
I see a reason.
They're different. I was watching Connor play it last night, and yeah,
And I played it. Trust me, it is different.
It's that like, yes, level design is the same, but like it's they're different games.
Mhm.
They're very much different games. And so it's important to see the history of the FromSoft, because that's where we're going off of is the lineage of FromSoft. So we are going to be playing the original Demon's Souls. Why did they put an extra S in there?
Didn't get the branding down. They're like, Dark's Souls? No, now we know what to call it.
So that is going to be for the month of July. Until next time, have a great time, and gentlemen, say goodbye to the people.
Bye.